It is finally here. Week 1 of the fantasy basketball season. You've been waiting all summer for this, doing your homework, doing your drafts, and now it's time to lock in. And one of the most important parts about fantasy basketball is being super nimble and hyper-focused on the waiver wire. In this episode, we're going to run down the top 5 waiver wire targets you need to focus on for week 1 of the NBA fantasy season. We believe every NBA fan that plays fantasy football should also play fantasy basketball. We're giving away sports cards for our episodes. Now, I'm going to give away one of these cards for this episode, but in order to do that, we need to get this episode up to 100 likes. We got a LaMelo Ball rookie card that we're going to be giving away, right? Raw. We also have a Devin Vassell rookie card that we're going to be giving away. Beautiful shape. We also have an Anthony Edwards rookie card that we're going to be giving away. It's also in beautiful shape. Then we have a Tyrese Maxey card that we're going to be giving away this week. And then we have an Onyeka Okongwu rookie card that we're going to be giving away this week. And last but not least, we have a second LaMelo Ball card we will be giving away this week. To enter, all you have to do is get this video to 100 likes, and then in the comment section of the YouTube version of this episode, just comment the name of the player that you want for your card. If you can also include an interesting comment about the episode, that would make your entry stand out a little more. But we're going to give them out randomly. Every week, we're going to try to have a new batch of cards. This is this week's batch. If these cards don't all get given away, we'll carry them over week to week. We back. First episode of the new season. I am honored, humbled. Man, so many new members in our community on Discord, people on YouTube, and even the audio podcast. Guys, if you are about that fantasy basketball life, specifically for points leagues, you are in the right place. Welcome home. Wipe your feet at the door. Take your feet off. Take your shoes off your feet. Get relaxed. Come on in and chill out with your boy. We got wings in the kitchen. We got drinks in the fridge. Just chill out. You are with your boy, Robin Mark. So, like I said, it's very important that when we navigate our fantasy basketball season, we are locked in to make sure that we are active and on the waiver wire trying to find value. I tell people all the time, you don't win your fantasy basketball league in the draft. And that's kind of our mindset because honestly, drafting is probably the best part of fantasy sports in general. Fantasy football, baseball, hockey, especially basketball. But if you're about hanging up those banners, getting those championship rings, winning your league prize, and having bragging rights over your league mates, you got to get focused when it comes to in-season roster management. And the number one way you can increase the value and chances even to win the championship is by getting active on the waiver wire. The team that you draft will not be the team that you end the season with. And in order for you to get what you need to tune in to these episodes weekly to make sure you're a step ahead of your competition. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into the first player for the waiver wire targets for week 1. Now, I get it. No games have happened. We've only had preseason, but preseason can still give you some hints on what you should do as you get into the mix early on in a fantasy basketball season. And one word that we use a lot around here is upside. I'd rather have a new puppy with upside than an old dog that you can't teach new tricks. And the first player I'm going to talk about is a puppy, but he got the bark of a Rottweiler. I'm talking about my man from the Los Angeles Lakers. And I am not talking about Bronny James. I'm talking about your man, Dalton Knecht. Your man Dalton Knecht went Walla Banini, crazy the other night against the Suns. He ended the game with 35 freaking points. Overtime win, I'll add. Listen, one thing you want to take a look at with these rookies and these younger players is upside, right? What did they do in college? What is their story? In his last season in college, he averaged 21.7 points per game. Let that sink in. Now, JJ Redick, we don't know what to expect from him as a head coach. But one thing is for sure, that the Lakers are always trying to find ways to lift some of that responsibility and that burden off of the king, LeBron James, off of his shoulders, right? They know they can't run the king to the ground, even though he is father time, and we've never seen anything like it in terms of durability, consistency, and just high-level play over such a long span of time. He is like played against every player. Like, it's crazy. We've never seen a guy jump from era to era like LeBron. But eventually, your man is going to have some type of regression. I mean, he has to. We say it every year. I don't know if it's going to be this season, but in order for them to kind of push back the due date on when your man is going to finally hang up those LeBron James sneakers, it's through nourishing and nurturing, I should say, young talent like Dalton Knecht. We saw it with Austin Reeves, right? Think about Dalton Knecht as like Austin Reeves 2.0. Dalton Knecht is like a poor man's version of Austin Reeves. He could probably produce on a similar level or a higher level if given the opportunity. We just don't know what's going to happen. But in these situations where week one is upon us and he is actually on ESPN available across so many leagues, he is only rostered in 17.5% of ESPN leagues. Come on, man. You got to, if your draft didn't happen, get him with the last pick. Like, I've been on the hilltop, draft Rob Dillingham. If you want to get him with your last pick, get him. You could also get Dalton Knecht. Huh? Like, he is that type of guy. Like, I don't give a shit, Sue puppy. If he's available on my waiver wire right now and I have a guy at the back end that's like maybe a Bobby Portis level type player, and I'm like, you know what? I know what to expect from Bobby Crazy Eyes Portis, but I don't know what I'm going to get from Dalton Knecht. So in the infamous and legendary timeless words of Raekwon the Chef, it's time to politic connect ditto with your man, Dalton Knecht. I'm picking him up in points leagues. The next player I want to talk about is someone that maybe I haven't been as high on. I've had some concerns about his health over the years, and honestly, he don't play. So I really haven't had a reason to bring him up. But I did have an opportunity in the preseason to see him get on the floor. And to be honest, he looks pretty good. And when he was healthy, before he went down with all of these injuries, he was the kind of player that you wanted to have on your roster. Now, I get it. If a player is coming back from a major injury, there's going to be some level of kind of building up to it and working himself back into true NBA form. But this guy has shown over the years that he is a baller, and I think that he has the potential to contribute to your team winning this year, especially if he can stay healthy. From the Chicago Bulls, somebody that I did not think I would be talking about this early in the season, but I am pleasantly surprised. Your man's in Lonzo Ball. Yes, Big Baller brand is back. Woo! Man, listen. Now, I get it. He's only rostered in 16.1% of ESPN leagues. People don't have faith in Lonzo Ball staying healthy. This is a guy that was drafted number 2 when he came out. This is a guy that, when healthy, contributed on a high level for points leagues. This is a guy whose last name is Ball. Let that sink in. He is literally a baller. So for me, I'm all about giving Lonzo Ball a chance if I'm picking up someone off of the waiver wire and just kind of monitoring to see what happens. Does he get to 25 minutes early on? Are they going to test him out? Are they going to kind of just like unleash him and let him do what he does? I know Josh Giddey is there, so there might be a shift in the dynamic because Josh Giddey is a prolific distributor of the rock, but they have him listed as a shooting guard and a small forward. Josh Giddey, a.k.a. the Giddler. Just wanted to sneak that in. Josh the Giddler. Giddey is playing shooting guard and small forward according to the depth chart. So I'm looking at Lonzo Ball as a point guard. Will he get the starting nod? I think it's something that's worth paying attention to as we get into the early stages of the season. With both of these guys, Knecht and Ball, you want to be patient. Don't just pick them up, see that they have a bad game, and write them off. If you're in the position where you have another spot that you can use for streaming, if you don't know what streaming is, it's when you rotate players out of a slot on your roster so you can get more games played. So if the worst player on your team is, let's say, Bobby Portis, and the person above it is Lonzo Ball or Knecht, then you can use that spot. But if Lonzo Ball or Dalton Knecht are the worst players on your team, depending on your matchup, you might have to drop them. But if you're winning week one, which is a shorter week, and you have the opportunity to hold these guys, I would do just that. The next player I'm going to talk about is kind of wild for the night. He's a gentleman that is been on the record to have some like questionable activity off the court. So because of that, he kind of gets a bad rap. However, he is a proven scorer, and he's in a position now with a franchise that is going to be in need of buckets. I'm talking about from the Los Angeles Clippers. Your man's in them. Actually, your man, not my man. Your man's in them. Kevin Porter Jr., a.k.a. KPJ. Now listen, people have this moral dilemma surrounding players like Kevin Porter Jr., Miles Bridges, the list goes on and on, where they have some Jason Kidd, don't forget, right? Many players have had questionable, sketchy, checkered pasts, right? Think mistakes that they've made or allegedly made, whatever the situation is. But when we're talking about fantasy, you got to look at the stats. Don't get me wrong. If you have some kind of moral code, if you have a moral code that prevents you from drafting a player like Kevin Porter Jr. because he had a charge, then that's on you. I would never be mad at that. But for me, I'm trying to win me a freaking fantasy basketball championship. Kevin Porter Jr. plays for the Clippers. I've been talking about him all offseason. Go check out my man, Dan Bespris, the Old Man Squad podcast. I was there talking about points, league sleepers, and KPJ was one of those guys. Now, when I did that episode, Kawhi Leonard, it was not announced that Kawhi Leonard would be out indefinitely. And guess what? Kawhi Leonard is out indefinitely. Questionable work. Hot dog water with the bratwurst residue. Kawhi broken thigh Leonard out. I have never in my long-legged life, I've been creating content for fantasy basketball. Like, this is, I think, our fourth season. 21, 22, 23. This is our fourth season, y'all. Don't get me lying. 20. Any way you look at it. I've been creating content for years, right? For years. Every year I say, do not draft Kawhi Leonard. Every year I say, stay away from Kawhi Leonard. Every year I say, Kawhi Leonard will burn you. Right? Dumpster fire burn you. And he did it again. And don't get me wrong, and I say this every time. I never want an NBA player to get hurt. I would never wish that on someone. And I think Kawhi Leonard is one of the most elite players and talents in the NBA when healthy. But He don't play. He don't play. So stay away from Kawhi Leonard. A player like Kevin Porter Jr., with the only talent that they have in LA right now being really like supreme talent, right, is James Harden, who's going to be the main attraction. Kevin Porter Jr., if he gets some minutes, he's going to show that he can put on for the city. So I'm grabbing Kevin Porter Jr. if he's available on the waiver wire. The next player I'm going to talk about will also benefit from some of the stars on the squad being a little banged up. And this guy is someone I'm not super high on, but I know that when he gets minutes, he can produce. I'm talking about from the Philadelphia 76ers, Kelly Oubre Jr. Now, there's two levels to this. The first level is Paul George. Paul George is banged up. He had some weird-looking accident in the preseason that looked scary. It looked like his season might be over. They ran an MRI, and it looks like he's going to be okay. But he's going to be out for a little while. The other level is Joel, the process, Embiid. Now, I don't know if you saw Kevin Garnett's recent episode with Paul Pierce, and he was going off on Joel, y'all. Yo, if you didn't hear, Joel Embiid it's been announced that Joel Embiid will be resting back-to-backs indefinitely. Let that sink in. For like his career, the rest of his career, he will be resting back-to-backs, meaning that you will only get a certain amount of value from him if he's healthy. Kevin Garnett said the job requires 82 games, and he was going off, cursing out Joel Embiid. So listen, I don't know Joel's situation personally. I know fantasy, though. I'm a fantasy analyst. I does this. I live, sleep, eat, and poop this. I am an absolute sicko when it comes to fantasy basketball, specifically points leagues. And Kelly Oubre Jr., as like non-sexy as that sounds, will provide tons of value. He is projected this year, according to ESPN, to average 30 minutes a game with 15.9 points per game, 5.1 rebounds, 1.2 steals. Steals, right? Which for ESPN is valued at 4 points per steal. So listen, hey, again, it's not sexy. It's not something I'm excited about. But if he's available on your waiver wire and Knecht and maybe KPJ, some of those guys aren't available, it's somebody that I would definitely play. At least give him a streaming opportunity. Let him run a couple games for you and see if you're going to retain him for your roster. The next player is someone that I've been really high on, but over the last season, because of injuries, he's kind of like faded to black a little bit. And honestly, I think for me, it's somebody that I want to give another try and check out and see if he can kind of bring back that positive vibration that I used to get when I had him on my roster. Because honestly, one thing that I know is when NBA players have major haircuts, like change their hairstyle. For example, Anthony Edwards came into the league with like braids and he cut his hair. After that, it was like a whole new Ant-Man. And I think this gentleman is going to have the same kind of switch in gear because of his haircut, but also because of the environment. I'm talking about from the Indiana Pacers, Benedict Mathurin. Benedict Mathurin got a new haircut. You can see it in the picture right over there. Oh, is it this way? This way, right? Got a new haircut. I'm telling you, I know it sounds silly, and like we talk about analytics, we talk about statistics. We don't talk about haircuts enough, right? It's a thing. Like Jimmy Butler, huh? Right? Benedict Mathurin, I believe, is going to have a great season. ESPN has him projected to average 17.1 points per game. Last season, he averaged 14.5. So for some reason, they think he's going to go up in value. For me, I'm all about the big chop. When you get your braids and stuff cut off, you come back just on some neck stuff. So for me, I'm definitely willing to pick up Mathurin to at least just see if there's anything there. He's only rostered in 16.8% 50% of ESPN leagues, so he is widely available across the platform. I'm going to grab Benedict Mathurin. Now that you know the top 5 players you need to pick up for NBA fantasy, check out this episode for the top 50 tips to win your league.